Hey, this is Lucky Yates.
Hey there, this is Jimmy Simpson.
Hello, this is Brad Sherwood.
Hi, this is Claire Coffey.
This is Andy Daly. Hey there, this is Kevin Durant.
Hi, I'm Chris Parnell.
Hey, this is TJ Fine.
Hey y'all, this is David Hoffman. You are listening to Next Level Radio. Have fun.
It's time for the Showcast. And now, here they are, those pop culture junkies and your hosts, Ben Beck, Adam Gorey, and Steve Richards.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Showcast Spotlight here on the Next Level Network. I am Ben Beck, joined by my co-host for the evening, Mr. Steve Richards, and our guest this time around has been seen on some great TV shows such as Bones, How to Get Away with Murder, and The Goldbergs, but now he can be seen as a leading man on the CBS show The Inspectors. Please welcome to the Spotlight, Bret Green. Bret, thanks for joining us.
What's up, guys? Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Are you calling, are you a West Coast guy, East Coast guy? I'm assuming West Coast.
West Coast, yeah. Actually, was just hanging out at the beach near Santa Monica a little bit ago. So, yeah, I'm a total West Coast guy now. I'm from Michigan, so I guess I'm a Midwestern boy living on the West Coast.
Man, it's got to be nice to hang out on the beach in October.
Yeah, my family, I talk to them, and it's like the first topic of conversation is always the weather. They're all still back in Michigan, and I'm like, we don't really talk about the weather much out here in California because it's kind of the same every day.
It doesn't change out there. That's a good reason why.
Where are you guys at?
We're we're like the Philadelphia area.
Okay.
So we...
One city I haven't been to. One big city, I guess, I haven't been to is Philly.
Oh, you got to change that. You got to come on out. We got some good stuff out here.
Take that back. I went to Philly when I was like 12, and I went and saw... Nope, that was Pittsburgh. Never mind. I have not been to Pittsburgh. I was going to say I saw a Pittsburgh Pirates game, and as soon as I started talking, I was like, wait a second, that's not in Philly.
Nope. No, they're kind of, even though they're the same state, sports-wise, they're pretty much rivals. So.
Okay, so you guys don't like Pittsburgh?
I personally, I have nothing against the city. It's the sports teams I don't like.
Okay. All right, so you guys are Eagles fans, I assume?
Well, yeah. Eagles, Phillies, those teams.
Right.
I dislike Pittsburgh sports so much that I do dislike the city.
I know how that can go. I'm the same way with Chicago. So I'm a Michigan boy, so most Chicago sports teams. Although I am rooting for the Cubs tonight to pull off the win and win the World Series. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. They're two teams that haven't really seen this spotlight before, so you don't know who to root for unless you're a fan of one of those two teams. But I'm personally rooting for the Cubbies too. I hope they. I know
it's almost you almost rather you're like, hey, as long as somebody's gonna win, right? It's either gonna be Cleveland gets to celebrate their second championship, or Chicago gets to finally put an end to the curse. So it's a good storyline regardless.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you put it like that, I think Chicago's the bigger underdog. So I'm rooting for Chicago.
Oh, trust me, I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I'm a perpetual rooter for the underdog.
Yeah. So as we mentioned at the top of the interview, you guys are currently in your second season of The Inspectors. For those people who haven't seen the show, tell us a little bit about the show and your character, Preston Wainwright.
Yeah, the show airs on Saturday mornings on CBS, which is a little bit non-traditional, but we've had a lot of fun with it. So the show kind of aims, our target audience is families. It's not necessarily a kids show. And so the show follows my character, Preston Wainwright, and his friends. They're freshmen, sophomores in college. And Preston is in a wheelchair. He got in a car accident that actually took his father's life and, took the use of his legs. And so it's kind of an interesting character to play and an interesting character to have on television just because there's this big push right now in TV to get more characters who look like, everyday Americans. They're not all just, able-bodied white males. So it's pretty cool to be a part of, trying to diversify TV a little bit. The show also follows my character's mom, Amanda Wainwright, who is a United States Postal Inspector. So we like to say it's a little bit of a mix between like CSI and Boy Meets World.
That's an interesting combination.
Yeah, throw those two shows in a blender and you've got The Inspectors. It's really been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Saturday morning, which is kind of catered toward the kids programming, and you mentioned Boy Meets World and CSI. One of those is not a kids, and one of them is a kids show. So where do we fall kind of on that spectrum, or is it in the middle?
I think it's a fine line right in the middle. So you have two storylines in every episode. There's the Inspector storyline, which follows the United States Postal Inspection Service as they try to solve crimes that are committed through the mail, whether that means somebody put a letter in the mail or sent drugs through the mail, or there's a number of things, fake memorabilia. There was one about an elephant tusk that went through the mail. So as soon as it goes through the mail, it's the USPIS's jurisdiction. So it's really interesting to kind of show the public some of these crimes that maybe we don't know about, some of these like white-collar crimes that we think, don't happen to anybody, but everyone's got a grandma or an aunt or somebody somewhere that's been scammed out of some, whether it's a Jamaican lottery scam or, somebody approaches you and says, hey, I've got this $6,000, I'm going to give it to you. You take $2,000 and then give me the rest back or whatever. Those shady things that happen all the time. Part of our show's mission is to make people aware of those, and also, also entertain. We work super closely with the United States Postal Inspection Service. They help us write scripts. They're coming up with ideas for crimes and things like that we can have on the show. Every crime on the show is a real case that has, in fact, happened. So it's really interesting to kind of get into that world and see some of these, not so well-known crimes.
Yeah, I was going to say that was actually something I was curious about as to whether or not you had any consultants from anybody from the USPIS working with you guys on the show. Because before the show, I had no idea this branch of the government even existed. I thought this was something that kind of fell under like an FBI jurisdiction or something like that.
No, and what's funny is I didn't either, and most of the cast weren't familiar with what the USPIS even was, and a lot of Americans don't know. And it's really important for them to understand that, most of us, if you've ever had an issue with, tampered mail or, received one, like some kind of threatening letter or whatever, back when the whole anthrax thing was going on, all that stuff is their jurisdiction. And they're federal agents. They're the oldest federal agency in America, founded, one of the founders was actually Benjamin Franklin. So there's a whole lot of history. And now I have all these facts now that I can share on shows like this. It's pretty cool though. So yeah, they carry guns, they do surveillance, they set up stings, they do the whole thing that you would expect the FBI, the CIA, and these other more well-known agencies to do. And so part of it is giving those guys their proper credit and kind of showing what they do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I actually looked into the USPIS afterwards, and it was pretty interesting reading all about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you've intrigued me with saying that all the cases are real. So go ahead and give me the craziest one.
Oh, craziest case. Man, they're all so whether it's a scam that targets elderly or like I said, like a Jamaican lottery thing where somebody is so convincing where they send you a letter or whatever and tell you, hey, you've won. And to me, I would say probably the Jamaican lottery scam was the most kind of flabbergasted I had been, because I was just so surprised that people actually would send money places. But, they're convincing to say, hey, you've got to pay the taxes on this first, or some scams, they'll even have you send money and then, they'll send you money back saying, here's your interest. But all they're doing is sending you your same money you sent them back. And so it's a really well thought out scam. It's sad that people prey on others like that to get rich quick scheme, if you will. And but yeah, it's every case I look at it, I'm just like, wow, I can't believe that people are doing this to others, and B, people are falling for it. But it's a tough time right now, someone says you can make an easy buck, sometimes you just go with your gut and try it.
Yeah, that's fair. I did a little bit of research, and I found that you weren't always in the acting world. In fact, you were in the marketing world, I believe. So what made you get out of that corporate world and jump into acting here?
Yeah, I think about that a lot. People always ask me, and I've always had a passion for the arts, but I was never really encouraged to do it, just because it's not something. Not to say that my parents didn't encourage me, but it's not something that seems like a very well thought out career path. For most people, it's like, you really want to go and get rejected on a daily basis and maybe have a shot at being successful, but when it's something that you feel really strongly about and you've got that itch you just can't quite scratch, you've got to try. And so me and my friends started making YouTube videos, doing student films, doing shorts, doing whatever we could, and just kind of met the right people and started putting together some demo reels and getting headshots and doing the whole thing. And then it became, it kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to take a leap of faith here. I either need to be a salesman or, be a marketing guy, or I need to be an actor. I can't be both. I'm confusing the universe by saying sometimes I want to be an actor, but other times I want to be the sales marketing guy.
Yeah.
So I quit my job one day on a whim, and I booked How to Get Away with Murder like a week later. And while I don't have any evidence to say whether or not those two events are directly related to each other, it kind of feels like a crazy coincidence. So I don't know. I think when I took that leap of faith and decided I didn't want to do the corporate world anymore, opportunities started to present themselves.
So was that all in L.A. then, or were you making some headway while you were in, I assume you were still in Michigan at this point?
This actually all took place in Arizona.
Arizona, okay.
I moved from Michigan to Arizona right after college and had a great job. Had a lot of benefits, got to go on a lot of cool trips and do a lot of stuff that people tell you is success and is happiness and all that stuff. And for me, it just wasn't quite fulfilling enough. And so I'm really glad that I made the switch.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that there had to have been some struggles for somebody who didn't have any background in acting, but it sounds like there wasn't, because you booked How to Get Away with Murder a week after you moved out to L.A. So is that the case, or was there struggles there?
I had been acting for a while, for a few years, and I had been in L.A. for a couple years before I had booked How to Get Away with Murder. So yeah, there definitely were your struggles of just trying to get people to take you seriously, trying to get somebody to take a chance on an unknown actor, and just hoping that your work could speak for itself in a city, in an industry where unfortunately it's not always the case. It's, what's your look? How many followers do you have? A number of variables that sometimes you can't really control. And so I went out and auditioned quite a bit, beat down a lot of doors, and worked really hard and took every workshop I could and spent more money than I'd cared to share on classes and headshots and workshops and all kinds of things like that. So there certainly were struggles where I moved out to L.A. with a savings account, and then within 2 years that didn't even exist anymore, and I was wondering what I was going to do. But everything worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, like you said, it worked out. I'm kind of wondering if there was a point where you kind of thought, oh God, I might be making a mistake here. You felt like you were because like you said, it's a success story now. But I'm interested in the in kind of where you were at one point before you were able to cater all the success that you've had now at the Inspectors.
Yeah, I actually have a specific example. So I was auditioning for a guest star on a show called Rizzoli and Isles on TNT.
Oh yeah.
And I went into the audition, and I was perfect for it. I thought this is my time. I'm gonna go, and I think I can book this. Character's just like me. And I went in, and I read the scene, and it was a pre-read, which basically means they're not running the camera. They're basically just auditioning you, whatever. And I did my audition. I thought it went really, really well, and I saw a camera in the back. So what they were doing is they were pre-reading people, and then if they liked you, they were putting you on tape. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll do my pre-read with the casting director, and then he'll like me, of course, and then I'll go on tape. And I went in there and I did my pre-read with him, and he was like, all right, cool, thanks a lot. And I was like, you're not going to have me put my audition on tape? And he was like, nope, we got everything we need. And I walked out and I was thinking, what am I doing here? Like, this it feels like a waste of my time. It feels like, I'm not good enough or whatever. And I found it really helped to start kind of like journaling after auditions, and then go back and maybe read it a few days later and kind of see what a complaining little whiner I was being. So that was a moment where I just felt like, I saw a bunch of guys going before me, and I kind of got in my head and started feeling competitive, like, well, those guys were in the room for 20 minutes, and I was only in there for 5 minutes or whatever, and so, which is super, super, destructive for actors to do. So, yeah, that was a low point where I just thought, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should try something else.
Yeah. I want to switch back to the inspectors, obviously, for a couple minutes. You're one of the first leading characters in a show, if not the first, to actually have a physical handicap going into it. Do you find it, is there any kind of a challenge to actually acting confined to a wheelchair?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the physical challenge, the production rented me a wheelchair for like 2 weeks leading up to it. So I was constantly in that chair trying to get used to it, because my big fear at the beginning was, I don't want people who are in chairs to watch this show and see themselves not being portrayed accurately. And the last thing, there's flashbacks in the show, so the actor that they chose had to be an able-bodied actor to do the flashbacks. But the last thing I wanted was any sort of backlash from people saying, why didn't they cast an actor who's actually in a wheelchair, and this guy's not believable, whatever. So I worked really hard at it and talked to a lot of great people that we had on set, a lot of consultants that helped me. This is how there's a hill, this is how you go down the hill, this is how you get over a bump, this is how you turn in the kitchen, and all these different things that I had no idea how to do. Watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to get out of the chair into a bed, or how to go from the couch to the chair, and all that stuff. So it was definitely a challenge, but I've always said the biggest challenge was getting in the mind frame of somebody who used to have use of his legs and now doesn't, and kind of what that must be like, and to not let yourself become a victim, but just kind of move forward and be strong. Because some of these consultants that I worked with have been in chairs for 40 years, and they're like, you wake up every day and you thank God that you're alive and move on, move forward. And so I had a lot of really good examples of strong people mentally, as well as physically.
Yeah, so I mean, you definitely did your research into, what it's like being in the wheelchair and such. But what's the feedback been with some of the viewers? I mean, have you met any viewers who are, in wheelchairs? And I'm wondering what their thoughts on the character are.
Yeah, I've had quite a few messages on social media, mostly, well-received messages. People saying, "Hey, I watched the show, and it's so nice to see somebody like myself on TV." And I had I wouldn't even call it a negative comment, but one comment I got from a woman overseas, actually, on Facebook. She said she's in a chair, and she does, like, the extreme wheelchair stuff where it's, like, in the, like a skateboarding bowl type thing. She does it in her wheelchair. And she got mad at me because my character has the training wheels on the back of the wheelchair, so it won't tip and flip over. And I was like, okay, I'll take that as a challenge. Like, I'll ask production to take those right off. And I went to the production. They were like, yeah, no, we've got those on there for insurance purposes, so you don't fall back and hit your head on set. And I was like, all right, that's fair. So we left the safety wheels on the back.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, Preston is going through rehab. His goal is to be able to walk again after the accident. And I'm curious from a personal perspective, not necessarily from production, but is that something that you would like to see from his character? Do you want to see him get the ability to walk again? And if so, do you think that would kind of change the perspective of the viewers who are in wheelchairs, who are fans of the character already? Or do you think that would maybe personally push them to strive more that in their own personal lives to be able to do that as well?
A good question, because I think everybody works as hard as they can to walk again, but it's something that's either going to happen or it's not. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I've learned enough kind of done research and talked to people at like the Christopher Reeve Foundation, and they're constantly trying to get people out of chairs. But medicine can only take you so far. So yeah, I don't necessarily have like a desired direction for the show to go. I mean, I think it would be great to see Preston get out of the chair, or at least start to make strides towards getting out of the chair. And I think we'll see a little bit of that as the season goes on and kind of see his struggle. But I also want to be realistic, and we would hate to have a character on TV get out of his wheelchair so quickly and so easily, and have people back home who are actually in chairs say, no, that's not how it works, or give them almost like a false representation of how that recovery process can go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be really interesting. I mean, I think obviously I'd love to see it. Such a feel-good story to see Preston get out of the chair, or at least start making strides towards walking again. But it's kind of a fine line to toe.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the Christopher Reeve Foundation, because I saw that you're a supporter of them and a bunch of causes, really, but I saw the Christopher Reeve Foundation as well. We love to have actors kind of speak out for causes they believe in and stuff like that. So if you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about them and what you've done with them, or what they're doing, then feel free.
Yeah, I've met some really cool people at the foundation, and actually I wear this necklace from the Christopher Reeve Foundation that has a Superman logo on it, and I wear it almost every day as kind of a reminder, to keep those people in your thoughts, and know that I mean, being on this show has made me such a more compassionate person, and just grateful to wake up every day and have the use of my legs. And if I'm at the gym and I'm running on the treadmill and I'm feeling like I want to stop or I want to give up, sometimes I'll even imagine, what if Preston or somebody like Preston was sitting here watching me on the treadmill, watching me not complete this workout because I'm tired, because I don't want to anymore. What they would do to switch roles with me. And so yeah, I think the Christopher Reeve Foundation is they're raising a ton of money right now to try. Their goal is to get people out of chairs and have tons of empty wheelchairs across the world. And they're doing a study right now with, I think, 36 people, where they're doing this stimulation, this spinal cord stimulation, where it's actually yielding some results. Regaining a little bit of feeling in the legs, and regaining use of being able to use the restroom on their own, and being able to regulate their body temperature and stuff like that. So there's a lot of really good stuff that's happening right now, and we're really hoping that science just continues to advance, and we can get people out of chairs.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. Going back to the top of the interview, obviously we mentioned the Inspectors. It's on at Saturday mornings, at 8:30 on CBS. We want to make sure we mention that so people go and check out the show. But I remember a time when I was younger, and when we were all younger, when that was pretty much a prime time for cartoons. And now we've kind of transitioned things where the Saturday morning cartoons things are no more, but shows like this are, prevalent in that time period. And you mentioned, how this is kind of a mix of Boy Meets World meets CSI. So it's still family entertainment, but it's more intelligent family entertainment now. What do you think how do you think that's been, and how do you think that's worked for the viewers, that it's kind of made that transition from, goofy cartoons to more intelligent family television?
I think it's only going to benefit our society as a whole. I mean, trust me, I grew up watching cartoons on Saturday morning too, and I think those have a certain special place in all of our hearts, and the nostalgia that we grew up watching them. But at some point the FCC stepped in and created a regulation that Saturday morning programming has to be educational and informational, and so our show falls under those guidelines, where it's educational and informational. So we're teaching about crimes that could happen, or we're teaching a lesson, kind of like how Saved by the Bell was back in the day, where it was like, this episode's going to be the anti-drug episode, or this is the episode where they try alcohol for the first time, and we're trying to teach viewers anti-bullying and things like that. And so I think it's pretty cool that we've kind of ditched the kind of the quick, easy entertainment of cartoons to something a little more intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a day and age now where all those cartoons that we love can all be found online. So it's not like they've completely disappeared from our world.
Go watch Adult Swim. Yeah, watch Adult Swim on Thursday night or whatever. You can get your cartoons wherever you want. You can watch whatever cartoons you want with a DVR on Saturday morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Adult Swim Saturday morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can watch them pretty much anytime, anywhere now. So it's not like it's a big loss that, we've replaced the Saturday morning cartoons with shows like this, especially when shows like this are as informative and entertaining as they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's stay in the childhood ground and talk about some old school hip hop here. Go ahead and give me your favorites, and first of all, you're not like a 23-year-old that thinks old school hip hop is something like Lil Wayne or anything like that, right? Like, we're going to talk about real old school hip hop here.
No, my favorites in terms of old school, if you will. I mean, I love Biggie, I love Nas, I love Tupac, Run DMC. I talked with someone the other day about Run DMC, how they're kind of the first to do it. I did a report in high school on Run DMC. We had to go through their whole discography and see what songs they did and the positive influence they had on the movement and everything like that. And so I was just kind of really enthralled by that and thought it was super cool. And so I kind of just stuck with that culture, and it was always more fun for me in school to hang out with the guys that did listen to hip hop and kind of be a part of that culture. It was a lot of fun. So I would say if I had to pick one, though, I would say Notorious B.I.G. is probably my favorite when it comes to old school.
Yeah, it's a classic. The new Tribe album, how about that? Did you listen to them at all? And they got a new one coming out.
I was late on Tribe, but I definitely I started listening more probably in the last 3 or 4 years. I started listening a little more. Who are you guys' favorites? I mean, you guys are. I trust you guys are probably a little older than me. Let's go back and see who you guys like.
Well, I mean, it's funny you brought up Run DMC. I actually had an opportunity to see them this summer.
Nice.
And it was so incredible I mean, it's not, obviously they're not the same now, but it was still, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to go see them when I saw them come to town. So I went and I saw them and I had a great time at the show. But I mean, I go back to, God, I mean, when I hear old school, the first name that comes to my head, I mean, other than, maybe Coolio and such, is I go back to Young MC. Young MC, Grandmaster Flash. I go a little bit older, but still, everything you said, I still think qualifies as old school at this point.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm the same age as you, thanks.
But I had a similar experience that you saw Run DMC. I was at a country concert in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and they brought out Boyz II Men.
Oh, there you go.
And I thought they were kidding. I was like, there's no way Boyz II Men is at a country. And they came out, and they were all there, and they sang a couple songs, and I was the same way. I was like, I grew up listening to them. This is so cool. So, yeah, I hear you when you see somebody up on stage and you haven't heard of or seen in forever. It brings back a little piece of your childhood. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And this all kind of parlays into your YouTube. I don't know if you have a channel or anything like that, but you've kind of built some awareness, right? As a bit of a rapper yourself on YouTube. I don't know if you want to reveal that or not, but
yeah. I started doing that years ago. Actually, in school, I had in 10th grade, I had a project where we had to do a music video, and a couple of friends and I did a song. We did a music video to Outkast.
Nice.
I Like the Way You Move,
yeah.
And it was so fun. I had so much fun doing it. Like, we gotta do this more often. And then we started making our own songs, our own versions of songs, and parodies. And I always loved Weird Al, so I was like, I want to do stuff like that. And so we started doing some things, and just had a ton of fun. And I'm actually starting to get into music a little more seriously now. I've been working with a voice coach and doing some singing, and also doing continuing to do the rap, because I mean that's where we started. I can't abandon that. So I've been having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah,
cool, man.
Before we let you go, you just mentioned somebody. If you haven't seen yet, you want to talk about going back to your childhood. I saw Weird Al last year. for the first time. I mean, I'm 36 years old. It was the first time I ever got the chance to see him, and man, let me tell you, you want to talk about going back to your childhood. That was probably one of my top 5 favorite concerts I have ever been to.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, if you personally, if you ever get the chance to see him, I know he plays out in LA a lot because I think that's where he's at. I think he's based out there. If you get the chance, go and see him, man. He's a blast.
I will. I've heard the same thing from a number of people, and I'm surprised he's still doing it. I can't even imagine how old he is.
Well, I mean, you think about it too, is the number of albums that he has out. His last album, which I can't even remember the name of it now for the life of me, even though I own it. For as long as he's been doing this, he finally hit number 1 on the Billboard charts.
Nice.
It took him over 30 years to get it done, and he finally did it. So,
he's something else, man. He's a one of a kind.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. But we would definitely, push our listeners to go check out The Inspector Saturday mornings at 8:30 on CBS. We're going to send them your way on Twitter as well, at Bret J. Green. Correct? I think that's right. So, but Bret, this was a lot of fun, man. Very informative too. So we really enjoyed talking to you. We hope we get to talk to you again down the road.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Showcast Spotlight. We will be back with another Spotlight down the road when we'll join you then. Take care.